Arrival at the Galactic Council. The starship Aurora's Edge glided silently through the endless void, its sleek hull reflecting distant starlight like a shard of polished obsidian. Inside the bridge, Captain Kalen Rin stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his gaze fixed on the massive viewport ahead. The Galactic Council's citadel rose before them, a breathtaking structure of silver spires, floating platforms and glimmering energy fields that twisted and shimmered like liquid light. It was a sight that could humble the most confident of beings, yet Kalen felt a familiar surge of determination instead of awe. "Approaching orbit, Captain," announced Jaxer Tide, the ship's chief engineer. His voice, usually calm, carried an edge of excitement. "Sensors show multiple council vessels in formation. This is impressive even for the history books." Kalen nodded. "Keep our shields at full and maintain stealth protocols until we're cleared for landing." His eyes, sharp and calculating, swept over the crew. "Remember, we are not guests. We are representatives of humanity, whether they expect it or not." Lyra Voss, the delegation strategist, adjusted her stance beside Kalen. Her dark hair framed a face of quiet intelligence, and her emerald eyes reflected the flickering lights of the citadel. "They'll expect fear, submission, obedience," she murmured. "We give them none." "That's the point," Kalen replied. "They expect humans to bow, to negotiate meekly. But that's not who we are." The Aurora's Edge entered the Council's orbital space, and a soft chime indicated permission to land. Below them, the Citadel's landing platforms shimmered with energy, each large enough to accommodate vessels from the galaxy's most massive civilizations. The humans descended, their ship cutting through beams of light like a comet piercing the night. As they touched down, Kalen felt a strange mix of exhilaration and tension. The Council had convened for the first time in centuries, and their eyes would be upon humanity. Every species present had long histories, cultures that spanned millennia, and powers far beyond what humans had developed. Yet here they were, bold, unflinching, and determined. The landing bay doors opened, revealing a crowd of beings that defied description. Some had translucent skin through which glowing organs pulsed rhythmically. Others had dozens of limbs or eyes that glimmered with intelligence and suspicion. Kalen's attention was drawn to Zorith, the Council's senior ambassador, whose serpentine body coiled elegantly as he observed the humans. His face, or what passed for one, was unreadable, and his eyes, sharp and golden, seemed to weigh every molecule in the room. "Ambassador Zorith," Kalen began, bowing only slightly, a subtle acknowledgement rather than submission. "We are honored to be here, and we seek only an audience to represent humanity." Zorith's voice was a low, melodic hiss that carried easily through the chamber. "Captain Kalen Rin," he replied, his tone both polite and condescending. "You have crossed the void to stand before the Galactic Council. Few species are granted this privilege so soon in their existence. Tell me, are you prepared to follow the Council's guidance?" Kalen's jaw tightened. This was exactly what they expected. The subtle pressure, the implication that humans were too young, too naive, too reckless to act without oversight. "We are prepared," Kalen said, his voice calm yet unwavering. "But we do not come to follow. Humanity charts its own course." A murmur rippled through the assembly. The Council had never faced such blunt defiance. Whispers echoed in dozens of languages, translating roughly to shock, amusement, and disbelief. Some members leaned forward, curious about these strange humans who refused to kneel. Others recoiled, clearly offended by the perceived insolence. Lyra stepped forward, projecting a calm, confident presence. "We are not here to challenge your authority," she said. "We are here to establish a dialogue based on mutual respect. But we will not accept limitations on humanity's potential. We are capable of guiding ourselves." Zorith's eyes narrowed slightly as though weighing her words. "Most species would beg for guidance," he said. "Your courage is remarkable. Perhaps reckless, but remarkable." Jaxer, always the engineer, couldn't resist a quiet remark under his breath. "Courage is easy. Survival's the hard part." Kalen shot him a look but allowed a faint smile. The humans were escorted into the Council chamber, a grand hall suspended above the city with walls of shimmering energy that seemed to hum with ancient power. Every Council member present radiated authority and experience, their forms ranging from crystalline to gaseous, from insectoid to serpentine. The architecture itself was alive, responsive to their presence, and for a moment, Kalen felt the weight of history pressing down on him. Despite the intimidation, Kalen's confidence never wavered. He and his team had prepared for this moment. They had trained in diplomacy, strategy, and negotiation, but above all, they had trained to remain human in the face of overwhelming power. The chamber settled as Zorth raised a coiling limb. "You have traveled far, humans," he said, "and you stand before us, defiant and unafraid. Few species possess such audacity. Yet defiance without understanding can be dangerous. Are you aware of the responsibilities you assume by refusing our guidance?" Kalen stepped forward, his voice resonating clearly in the vast chamber. "We are aware. Humanity does not fear responsibility. We embrace it. We do not seek to undermine the Council, but we cannot accept restrictions on our growth or potential. We will decide our own destiny." A stunned silence followed. The Council had faced countless species, some wise, some cunning, but none had spoken so boldly, so confidently without deference. Some of the elder members exchanged worried glances, others looked intrigued. Lyra added, her tone steady, "Humanity's history is one of challenges. We have endured famine, war, and catastrophe. Yet we have risen every time. That is why we cannot and will not be constrained by fear or control." Zorth studied them carefully, his eyes glowing faintly as he processed their words. "Perhaps," he said finally, "there is more to your species than we have accounted for. Yet understand this, the Council's decisions are not arbitrary. They maintain the balance of countless worlds. Defiance may carry consequences." Kalen inclined his head, unwavering. "We understand the risks, but we will not compromise our freedom. Humanity has survived against impossible odds, and we will survive here, among the stars as well." The Council murmured again, this time with a mix of astonishment and a grudging respect. The humans had arrived not as supplicants, but as equals willing to stake their claim in the galaxy. They had not bowed, not cowered, and not asked for permission. They had simply stated a truth the Council could not ignore: humans would chart their own path. As the humans were led to their designated quarters, Kalen glanced back at the chamber, a spark of pride in his eyes. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. "They will remember humanity. And they will learn we cannot be ignored." Lyra smiled faintly. "The galaxy may not be ready for us, but we are ready for it." The Aurora's Edge rested quietly in its docking bay, its crew prepared for the days ahead. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, promising challenges, discoveries, and triumphs beyond imagination. Humanity had arrived at the Galactic Council, not to negotiate meekly but to assert itself. And the galaxy would never be the same. The Council's offer. The Council chamber settled into an uneasy quiet as Kalen Rin and his team were seated at a central platform. The space hummed with latent energy, walls shimmering with alien scripts and patterns that seemed to shift subtly when observed. Every Council member's eyes, glowing, multifaceted, or entirely formless, were fixed upon the humans. At the head of the assembly, Zorth coiled slightly, exuding an air of authority that made even the boldest members of his species pause. "Humans," he began, his voice resonating through the chamber like wind through crystal, "your presence here is unprecedented. Few species reach this stage without centuries of guidance, and yet, here you are, uninvited, untested, and yet unafraid." Kalen leaned forward slightly, meeting Zorth's gaze evenly. "We have traveled across the stars to represent humanity, not as subjects, but as equals." Zorth's eyes narrowed. "Very well. Then you shall hear the Council's offer." He extended a coiled limb toward a hovering holo display, which projected a galaxy of stars and interstellar territories. The Council's voice, a chorus of different tones layered together, explained the terms. The humans would be granted a small sector of space for exploration, settlement, and development, but only under Council supervision. Any attempt to expand beyond these borders would be met with sanctions. They would be given access to certain technologies, but nothing that could allow rapid militarization. The Council's intention was clear. They sought to control humanity's growth before it could become unpredictable. Kalen's jaw tightened. "And if we refuse?" he asked evenly. Zorth's eyes gleamed, the first hint of irritation crossing his features. "Refusal is unwise. Most species bow to the Council's wisdom without hesitation. You are young humans. Reckless even. Resistance carries consequences." Lyra leaned slightly toward Kalen, whispering, "They think we'll beg for mercy. They don't understand us." Kalen's hand rested on the edge of the platform. "Mercy isn't part of the human lexicon. We survive, we endure, and we rise. That's what they cannot comprehend." The Council's representative from the Teruel Dominion, a crystalline being who refracted the light of the chamber in jagged patterns, spoke next. "Humans, your species has displayed potential. Yet potential alone is insufficient. Compliance ensures survival. Defiance ensures conflict. Kalen's voice was calm, but every syllable carried weight. We are aware of the risks. But humanity has never thrived by compliance alone. Our greatest achievements, our survival, have always come from challenging the odds, not surrendering to them. The council murmured among themselves. The idea of a young species openly rejecting their authority was unheard of, and yet the humans' words carried an undeniable conviction. Zoratha's gaze sharpened, as if weighing every atom of the humans' bodies for deceit. You speak boldly, Zorath said, but are you prepared for the consequences? The council maintains balance across thousands of worlds. Your refusal disrupts that balance. Kalen held his ground. Balance is maintained by fear of the unknown. Humans do not fear. We learn, adapt, and overcome. That is our balance. A ripple of tension swept through the chamber. Several council members exchanged silent signals, their disagreement palpable. A few younger species seemed intrigued, leaning forward with curiosity. Humanity's boldness was unlike anything they had seen, a spark of unpredictable energy in a universe dominated by protocol and precedent. Lyra activated her personal holopad, displaying data she had gathered en route. Human history, conflicts survived, innovations made, and crises overcome. She allowed it to project visually for the council. Images of Earth's cities rising from ruins, people building machines to traverse oceans, and communities surviving devastating disasters flickered across the chamber. These are the actions of a species that refuses to be contained, Lyra said. We have faced annihilation countless times and adapted. That is the truth of humanity. Control does not teach us. It hinders us. Jaxer leaned toward Kalen quietly. They're not used to anyone showing them up with facts, even holograms. Kalen allowed a faint smile. We're not here to show them up. We're here to show them the future, ours, not theirs. Zoratha's eyes glimmered with the first hint of respect, though his tone remained measured. Your words are persuasive, yet audacity alone cannot guarantee survival. The Council offers guidance not to oppress, but to ensure the survival of young species. Yet, your defiance is intriguing. You force us to reconsider. Kalen's gaze was unwavering. We do not seek to undermine the Council. We seek the freedom to shape humanity's destiny. We will not accept limits imposed out of fear or arrogance. The chamber buzzed with energy, Council members whispering in their unique tongues. The atmosphere was electric, part tension, part fascination. They had expected fear, hesitation, submission. Instead, they were confronted with resolve, courage, and the unmistakable spark of innovation that characterized humanity. One of the elder members, a gaseous entity that shimmered with internal storms, floated forward. Humans, you are unlike any species we have encountered. You combine resilience with unpredictability, defiance with reasoning. Perhaps, there is merit in observing your methods. But be warned, the consequences of failure are severe. Kalen inclined his head slightly, acknowledging the warning without submission. We accept the risks. Humanity has never thrived on obedience alone. Our future is ours to define. Zorath, coiling slightly, regarded the humans in silence for a long moment. Very well, he said at last. We shall observe. But know this, the galaxy is unforgiving. Should your path lead to conflict, you will not find allies in the Council's rules alone. Kalen and his team remained stoic, unshaken by the veiled threat. Then we will rely on our ingenuity, courage, and unity, Kalen replied. Humanity has survived far greater threats than those found in the stars. We will endure here as we always have. A tentative hush fell over the chamber. For the first time, the Council was unsure, not of the humans' power but of their unpredictability. This young species refused to be tamed, refused to negotiate on terms designed to limit their potential. And in that refusal lay the seeds of a story the galaxy had never witnessed before. Humans, unbowed, ready to claim their place among the stars. As the humans were escorted to their quarters within the Council citadel, Lyra whispered to Kalen, "They think they can contain us, but they've already underestimated what we're capable of." Kalen's eyes scanned the cityscape below, the lights of alien worlds stretching into infinity. "They've made a mistake," he said quietly. "Humanity isn't here to negotiate. We're here to endure, adapt, and rise. And the galaxy will remember that." For the first time, humans in the Council chambers felt a subtle shift in power, not through force but through resolve. The Council had made its offer, but the humans had made their choice. And that choice would echo across the stars for generations to come. The first shock. The chamber fell into an unusual silence as Kalen Rin and his team absorbed the Council's offer. The holographic map of the restricted sectors hovered between them, glowing with a cold alien light. Each star system, each cluster of planets, had been carefully assigned to species that the Council deemed mature enough to handle its responsibilities. Humanity, by their standards, was young, impulsive, and far from ready. Yet Kalen did not flinch. He could feel the weight of every Council member's gaze, assessing, questioning, daring him to falter. Instead he stood tall, his presence calm but commanding. "We have considered your offer," he said, voice resonating through the chamber. "And we have reached a decision." A ripple of anticipation, tinged with skepticism, ran through the assembly. Some members leaned forward, curious. Some, especially the elders, regarded him with a hint of indignation. Few species had ever responded with anything other than gratitude or fear. Kalen's eyes scanned the room, locking briefly with Zorith. "Humanity will not negotiate restrictions. We will not accept imposed limits. Our path is our own." Gasps erupted across the chamber. Several council members recoiled in disbelief. The Tinnerwell Dominion ambassador's crystalline form refracted the light around him as if he had physically shrunk in shock. Whispers of disbelief rippled through dozens of alien tongues, and yet the humans remained still, unwavering. Zorith's golden eyes narrowed, coils tightening subtly. "You do not understand the magnitude of what you are refusing," he hissed. "Most species would have agreed without hesitation. You risk the Council's displeasure, sanctions, and potential isolation." Kalen inclined his head slightly, a small smile playing at the corner of his lips. "We understand perfectly. Humanity has survived catastrophes that would have annihilated countless other species. Starvation, disease, war, environmental collapse. We have endured them all. We will endure your displeasure too." Lyra Voss stepped forward, projecting her calm authority. "We do not come to challenge the Council needlessly. We come to represent a species that values freedom, creativity, and resilience above obedience. We will cooperate where it is mutually beneficial, but we will not submit to fear or control." A murmur spread across the chamber. Some younger species, fascinated, whispered excitedly among themselves. "Remarkable, audacious, unprecedented." Their tones carried curiosity and intrigue rather than judgment. Zorith's voice, however, remained a steady undercurrent of authority. "Audacious, yes. But audacity alone does not ensure survival. You underestimate the complexity of interstellar politics and the fragile equilibrium maintained for eons. Your defiance may bring unintended consequences." Kalen's gaze did not waver. "Consequences are inevitable whether we comply or resist. But compliance under fear has never been humanity's way. We learn, adapt, and overcome. That is the way forward. That is survival." The chamber shifted uncomfortably, tension crackling like static through the air. Few council members had ever witnessed such unwavering conviction. For centuries they had relied on submission, diplomacy, and precedent. Here, before them, was a species that refused to play by the established rules. Lyra activated her holopad again, projecting historical records of human resilience. The chamber's walls lit up with images of Earth's history. Cities rising from ruins, communities rebuilding after natural disasters, humans innovating in the face of extinction. It was a silent yet powerful testimony of defiance and ingenuity. "This is our history," Lyra said softly, yet clearly for all to hear. "Humanity does not submit. We endure, adapt, and rise. That is not arrogance, it is truth. You may attempt to control us, but you cannot suppress what has been forged through centuries of survival." A murmur of acknowledgement spread through the assembly. Even the Tinnerwell Dominion ambassador, who had initially appeared skeptical, inclined his crystalline form, acknowledging the clarity of her words. Zorith's eyes glimmered with what might have been respect, though his voice remained measured. "You speak boldly. Unusually so. But the Council's rules are not arbitrary. They are forged through necessity, guiding species across millennia. Defiance can unravel the stability we have maintained." Kalen stepped closer to the center of the chamber. "We do not seek to unravel your council, Zorith. We seek only to define our own existence. Humanity has survived the chaos of its own making and emerged stronger each time. We are not fragile, nor are we naive. We are capable of shaping our own destiny." A subtle shift occurred among the council members. Discussions that had begun as whispered critiques turned into quiet debates. Some were visibly intrigued, while others exchanged anxious glances. The human's boldness was reshaping perceptions, forcing the council to reconsider its assumptions. One elder member, a gaseous entity with storm-like swirls inside, floated forward. Humans, your species is unlike any we have encountered. You combine recklessness with reason, audacity with resilience. It is disturbing and yet fascinating. Perhaps your defiance holds lessons for us all. Kalen's gaze was steady, unwavering. We do not seek to teach nor to challenge unnecessarily. We seek to exist freely, to explore and to grow. Humanity's history has been one of constant challenge, and we have risen every time. That is the nature of our species. The council murmured again, tension mingled with curiosity. Never before had a species refused an offer and simultaneously demonstrated competence and reason. It was as if the humans had reversed the very flow of expectation. Where others bowed and begged, humans stood firm and offered evidence of their strength. Zorith coiled thoughtfully, eyes flickering with complex emotion. You may have shocked the council, humans. Your defiance is unusual. Yet you have also demonstrated the clarity and conviction necessary to survive in a universe that is not forgiving. Kalen inclined his head, voice calm but resolute. Shock is inevitable when humans choose to be more than what others expect. We do not fear the unknown, we embrace it. That is why humanity thrives even when the odds are against us. The chamber fell into a tense silence, the council's usual authority shaken, not by force, but by the simple, undeniable audacity of a young species that refused to be contained. Whispers continued behind closed forms and shimmering walls, but the humans had already made their mark. They had not yielded, not begged, and not sought permission. They had declared their independence, and the council could not ignore it. Lyra leaned toward Kalen quietly, a faint smile on her lips. They didn't expect that, did they? Kalen's eyes scanned the chamber, a flicker of pride in their depths. No. And they'll remember it. Humanity does not apologize for being human. That is our first shock, and it will not be the last. As the humans were escorted to their quarters within the citadel, the whispers of astonishment and unease followed them. Across the galaxy, in the halls of the council, discussions erupted. A young, audacious species had refused to comply and had done so with courage, clarity, and evidence of survival. For the first time in centuries, the council faced a species that would not be tamed by tradition, protocol, or fear. The stars outside the chamber seemed to shimmer more brightly, as if acknowledging the emergence of a new force, humans. And in that moment, humanity's presence in the galaxy was no longer a question of permission. It was a declaration. Humans had arrived and they would not be ignored, tensions rising. The humans had made their stand, and the council chambers were still reverberating with the echoes of their audacity. Kalen Rin, Lyra Voss, and Jaxer Tide walked through the gleaming corridors of the Galactic Council citadel, their movements deliberate and unhurried. Though escorted under the council's watchful eyes, the humans carried themselves with an unmistakable air of confidence. Every step through the citadel's halls revealed alien marvels, floating gardens of luminous flora, crystalline corridors that reflected countless suns, and streams of pure energy flowing like liquid glass. Yet the humans' focus was not on the splendor around them, but on the storm they had provoked. The council had expected submission. Instead they had found defiance, sharp and unyielding. In the council's private chamber, Zorith coiled thoughtfully before addressing the assembly. This species, this human delegation, is unlike any we have encountered. They refuse guidance yet act with confidence and clarity. How do we proceed? The murmurs that followed were a mixture of concern and intrigue. Elder members argued, warning of the dangers of unchecked human expansion. Younger species, however, whispered eagerly, intrigued by the potential of a race unafraid to defy the norms. For centuries, the council had relied on obedience to maintain order. Now they faced a force that challenged that very principle. Meanwhile, Kalen and his team had been shown to their quarters, rooms designed with alien comfort in mind, yet lacking the warmth of home. Lyra leaned against the wall, her eyes scanning the room's intricate holographic interface. They're debating us, she said, her voice calm but tinged with excitement. Some of them see potential, others see danger. But we've already planted doubt. Jaxer, tinkering with a small energy manipulator, chuckled. Doubt is good. Fear would have been worse. They were expecting humans to tremble, to ask for mercy. Instead, we've made them rethink their assumptions. Kalen stood by the window, gazing out at the vast cityscape of the council's capital, suspended in orbit above a gas giant. We knew this would happen, he said quietly. They underestimated us as they always do. But now they're reconsidering. That hesitation is our advantage. Lyra joined him, her green eyes reflecting the glow of distant stars. We need to be careful. They'll test us, try to provoke mistakes. But if we remain steady, we can show them what humanity is capable of. Back in the council chamber, discussions grew heated. Zorath addressed the assembly once more. We cannot ignore their defiance. Yet we cannot dismiss their achievements or potential. Perhaps observation is necessary before any decisions are made regarding containment or restriction. A young council member, a bioluminescent entity from the Andari cluster, spoke with curiosity. If they are capable of navigating adversity without our guidance, could humanity be a model for other young species? Their resilience is remarkable. Zoratha's eyes flickered, a subtle acknowledgement of agreement. Perhaps. Yet we must proceed with caution. Their unpredictability may become a catalyst for chaos if left unchecked. Observation is prudent, but intervention may become inevitable. The humans, meanwhile, were not idle. Lyra began studying the Council's architecture and communication systems, seeking patterns and weaknesses. Jaxer examined energy flows and technological layouts, noting areas that could be adapted or improved. Kalen focused on strategy, pondering the implications of humanity's position in the Council. They see us as a test, Lyra remarked quietly. A species that must prove itself before being trusted. But they underestimate one thing: humans don't wait to be proven, they prove themselves. Kalen nodded. Exactly. And every interaction, every demonstration of skill and judgment, strengthens our position. We are not here to negotiate, we are here to endure and excel. Tensions outside the humans' quarters grew as the Council debated next steps. Some elder members feared human defiance might destabilize established alliances. Others argued that observing humans could provide valuable insights into resilience, innovation, and adaptability, a lesson even the oldest species could learn. Meanwhile, whispers of admiration for the humans spread quietly among younger delegates. They act without fear, one murmured. And yet they are precise, disciplined, and confident. Imagine what they could achieve if allowed freedom. Kalen convened a small private meeting with Lyra and Jaxer. The Council will test us, he said, in ways we cannot predict. They will push boundaries, provoke responses, and measure our reactions. We must anticipate, adapt, and endure. Jaxer grinned. Then we're ready. Humans have survived plagues, wars, famine. This is nothing new. It's just another challenge in the stars. Lyra's eyes sparkled. And we will show them that defiance is not weakness but strength. They fear what they cannot control. That fear is ours to wield carefully. The following day, the Council summoned the humans back to the chamber. Zoratha's coils moved slowly as he spoke, a subtle display of authority and contemplation. Humans, your previous statements have been noted. You have shocked the Council with your audacity and clarity. Yet words alone are insufficient. We will observe your capabilities firsthand. Kalen inclined his head. We are prepared. A holographic interface emerged, displaying complex interstellar scenarios, from natural disasters to hostile encounters between species. The Council intended to evaluate humanity's judgment, creativity, and adaptability. Every decision, every choice would be scrutinized. As the humans engaged with the simulation, Kalen, Lyra, and Jaxer approached each scenario methodically. Lyra's strategic brilliance guided their decisions, Jaxer's technical ingenuity provided solutions where others would have failed, and Kalen's leadership ensured cohesion and confidence. Each success chipped away at the Council's assumptions, replacing disbelief with astonishment. After hours of observation, Zoratha's golden eyes glimmered with an emotion almost indistinguishable from admiration. Remarkable, he murmured. They do not merely survive, they adapt, innovate, and excel. Perhaps humanity's audacity is not a threat, but a potential lesson for us all. Kalen's subtle smile betrayed no arrogance. We do not seek to teach. We only show what humanity can do when given the chance to act freely. As the humans departed the chamber, whispers followed them once more. Across the Council, debates raged. How should such a species be handled? Could they be guided, controlled, or contained? Or was it time to recognize that humanity had arrived not merely as a new species, but as a force that could redefine the galaxy's understanding of courage, ingenuity, and resilience? Back in their quarters, Kalen gazed at the stars. They fear what they cannot predict, he said quietly. And that gives us our edge. Lyra nodded. Tensions are rising, Captain. But so is our opportunity. Every hesitation, every doubt they have, is a victory we can build upon. Jaxer added with a grin, and every test they throw at us? That's just another chance to show them why humans survive when others fail. The humans had entered the council expecting scrutiny and intimidation. Instead, they had sparked a ripple of uncertainty, admiration, and curiosity. For the first time, the Galactic Council faced a species that refused to be measured by their expectations. A species whose audacity and resilience made even the oldest and most experienced members reconsider what was possible. And in the quiet of the Citadel's upper corridors, humanity's place in the galaxy was beginning to solidify, not through negotiation but through courage, intellect, and an unyielding refusal to be subdued. The stars beyond the Citadel shimmered, as if acknowledging the arrival of a species that would not be contained. Humanity's journey was only beginning, and the tension rising within the Council was merely the first indication of the impact they would have across the cosmos. A test of will. The Council's chamber was quieter than usual, the usual hum of alien voices subdued as the humans entered. Zorith, coiled elegantly at the center, observed them with an intensity that could have unnerved even the bravest of species. Today was no ordinary meeting. Today the Council intended to test the humans' capabilities in a scenario that had defeated even the most advanced civilizations. "You have spoken boldly, humans," Zorith began, his voice resonant and melodic. "You have refused guidance, rejected imposed limits, and yet claimed the wisdom to survive. Words alone are insufficient. Now you will demonstrate your abilities in a controlled test." Kalen Rin's gaze swept over the Council chamber. "We expected no less," he said calmly, his voice carrying quiet authority. "We are ready." Lyra Voss's eyes sparkled with anticipation. "Finally," she whispered to Jaxer. "They think they can intimidate us. Let's show them what humanity can do." The Council members activated a massive holographic display at the center of the chamber. A swirling nebula appeared, vast and turbulent, its storms animated in 3 dimensions with such precision that even the humans could feel the violent energy radiating from it. Within the nebula, numerous fleets from different species were caught in chaotic orbits, struggling to maintain formation against gravitational anomalies and energy surges. "This is the Solari Nebula," Zorith explained, his voice echoing in the chamber. "It has been a test for centuries. No species has navigated a full fleet through its storms without Council intervention. Fail and the consequences are significant: loss of reputation, resources, and potentially territorial claims." Kalen's jaw tightened. "A simulation," he murmured. "Nothing humanity hasn't faced before." Lyra studied the holographic display. "The anomalies are unpredictable," she noted. "Gravitational pockets, ion surges, temporal distortions. But we can use them to our advantage if we plan carefully." Jaxer grinned, already calculating energy flows and possible maneuvers. "They designed this to intimidate. But intimidation doesn't work on humans, we innovate under pressure." The humans' task was clear: guide a fleet through the nebula to a safe exit point, avoiding disasters that had historically destroyed fleets multiple times larger and more experienced than theirs. Every decision, every maneuver would be scrutinized by the Council's sensors, recording precision, judgment, and creativity. Kalen stepped forward to the console, his hands moving deftly over the controls. Lyra analyzed the nebula's currents. "Jaxer, prepare adaptive shields for sudden surges. We move as one unit, anticipate every anomaly, and stay calm. Panic is the enemy." Lyra's fingers danced across her holographic interface, tracing energy streams and calculating optimal routes. "There," she pointed. "A corridor of relative stability. It's narrow but it's the best path. We'll need to adjust constantly but it's possible." Jaxer activated the ship's adaptive systems. "Shields are online. Thrusters optimized. Let's give them a demonstration of human ingenuity." Kalen nodded. "Execute the plan." The holographic fleet moved, mirroring the humans' commands with precision. The nebula's violent energy surged around them, twisting space itself as storms of plasma erupted unpredictably. Other species' fleets, displayed for comparison, floundered immediately, colliding or being swept into the nebula's chaos. Kalen's voice remained calm and commanding. "Lyra, anticipate the ion surge at Sector 12. Jaxer, adjust shield harmonics to compensate. Now Vector 3 for the trailing ships." Seconds stretched into minutes, each decision precise and deliberate. The Council observed in stunned silence as the human fleet maneuvered through the chaos with a combination of strategy, adaptability, and sheer nerve. Where others would have panicked, the humans remained composed. Where others failed, the humans improvised. A plasma storm erupted suddenly, more violent than anticipated. Sensors indicated the outer ships were at risk of disintegration. Lyra's mind raced. Divert energy from the forward shields. Jaxer, reinforce lateral thrusters. Kalen, initiate gravity vector compensation. The maneuvers were executed flawlessly. The fleet adjusted, twisting through the storm like dancers, avoiding collisions, surges, and gravitational traps that would have doomed any other species. The Council watched, their collective astonishment growing with each successful maneuver. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the fleet emerged from the nebula intact. Every ship, every crew had survived unscathed. Where centuries of species had failed, humans had succeeded. The chamber erupted, not in applause but in a stunned, reverent silence. Zoratha's coils uncoiled slowly, his golden eyes fixed on Kalen. "Remarkable," he said quietly. "Your species has succeeded where others have failed. Not through brute force, not through arrogance, but through ingenuity, coordination, and resilience." Kalen inclined his head slightly. "We do not seek praise. We only do what is necessary. Humanity adapts, survives, and thrives. That is our nature." Lyra added, her voice calm but firm. "Tests do not intimidate us. Challenges do not break us. We find solutions and we endure. That is why humans will survive in the galaxy." Jaxer, unable to contain himself, allowed a small grin. They weren't expecting this. Not from a species they consider young. The Council members, still processing the display, murmured among themselves. Some younger delegates were visibly impressed, whispering about the humans' skill, resilience, and audacity. Elder members, though more cautious, could not deny the truth. Humanity had passed the test in a way no one had predicted. Zorath finally spoke, his tone heavy with contemplation. "You have shocked the Council, humans. Your audacity was expected, but your capability, that was not. You have demonstrated not only survival, but mastery under conditions designed to destroy you. The Council will observe you further, but this display cannot be ignored." Kalen nodded. "We do not seek to impress or intimidate. We act because it is necessary and because we can. Humanity survives not because it is favored, but because it refuses to fail." Lyra leaned slightly toward Kalen, a faint smile on her lips. "They didn't expect competence paired with audacity. That's the real shock." Kalen inclined his head slightly. "We do not seek praise. We only do what is necessary. Humanity adapts, survives, and thrives. That is our nature." Lyra added, her voice calm but firm. "Tests do not intimidate us. Challenges do not break us. We find solutions and we endure. That is why humans will survive in the galaxy." Jaxer, unable to contain himself, allowed a small grin. They weren't expecting this. Not from a species they consider young. The Council members, still processing the display, murmured among themselves. Some younger delegates were visibly impressed, whispering about the humans' skill, resilience, and audacity. Elder members, though more cautious, could not deny the truth. Humanity had passed the test in a way no one had predicted. Zorath finally spoke, his tone heavy with contemplation. "You have shocked the Council, humans. Your audacity was expected, but your capability, that was not. You have demonstrated not only survival, but mastery under conditions designed to destroy you. The Council will observe you further, but this display cannot be ignored." Kalen nodded. "We do not seek to impress or intimidate. We act because it is necessary and because we can. Humanity survives not because it is favored, but because it refuses to fail." Lyra leaned slightly toward Kalen, a faint smile on her lips. "They didn't expect competence paired with audacity. That's the real shock." Kalen inclined his head slightly. "We do not seek praise. We only do what is necessary. Humanity adapts, survives, and thrives. That is our nature." Lyra added, her voice calm but firm. "Tests do not intimidate us. Challenges do not break us. We find solutions and we endure. That is why humans will survive in the galaxy." Jaxer, unable to contain himself, allowed a small grin. They weren't expecting this. Not from a species they consider young. The Council members, still processing the display, murmured among themselves. Some younger delegates were visibly impressed, whispering about the humans' skill, resilience, and audacity. Elder members, though more cautious, could not deny the truth. Humanity had passed the test in a way no one had predicted. Zorath finally spoke, his tone heavy with contemplation. "You have shocked the Council, humans. Your audacity was expected, but your capability, that was not. You have demonstrated not only survival, but mastery under conditions designed to destroy you. The Council will observe you further, but this display cannot be ignored. Kalen nodded. We do not seek to impress or intimidate. We act because it is necessary and because we can. Humanity survives not because it is favored, but because it refuses to fail. Lyra leaned slightly toward Kalen, a faint smile on her lips. They didn't expect competence paired with audacity. That's the real shock. The Council stunned. The Council chambers were alive with whispers, a hum of astonishment and disbelief that rippled through the vast assembly. For centuries, the Galactic Council had relied on authority, tradition, and the assumed inferiority of younger species to maintain order across thousands of star systems. Yet here, before them, was a young species that had done the unimaginable, not only refusing the Council's guidance but excelling under a trial that had humbled every other civilization. Zorith, coiled at the center of the chamber, remained motionless for a moment, his golden eyes fixed on Captain Kalen Rin. The humans had passed the Solari Nebula test with a precision and creativity that even the most confident Council members could not dispute. And yet, it wasn't just competence that stunned them, it was the audacity, the calm defiance, and the resilience of a species so young by galactic standards. You succeeded, Zorith said finally, his voice low, measured, almost grudging. No other species has ever navigated the Solari Nebula without our intervention. And yet, you humans did so with remarkable coordination, ingenuity, and composure. Kalen inclined his head slightly. We do not seek praise. Humanity adapts because it must and endures because it can. Survival is not about permission, it is about capability. A council member from the Valyrian conclave, a crystalline being that refracted the chamber's light in myriad colors, floated forward. They are extraordinary. This was not expected. Their methods, their precision, their audacity. We must reconsider our previous assessments. The murmurs among council members intensified. Some spoke of caution, warning that a species capable of such feats could be a destabilizing force. Others, however, were intrigued, debating the potential benefits of a species that combined courage, innovation, and resilience. Lyra Voss, standing beside Kalen in the observation gallery, whispered to him, "They're struggling to classify us. To them, humans don't fit any of their templates. That's why they're stunned, they can't predict us." Kalen's eyes narrowed slightly, his jaw firm. Exactly. Predictability is their control mechanism. And we've just shattered it. Zorith addressed the chamber again, his tone more contemplative. For centuries, the Council has guided young species, ensuring their growth within boundaries designed for their survival. Yet humanity defies these expectations. Not recklessly but with skill and strategy. This is unprecedented. A younger council member, an entity from the Andari cluster, leaned forward with fascination. We underestimated them, the being admitted, its bioluminescent form glowing softly. Not only their capability but their composure. They do not panic, they do not falter. They anticipate, they adapt. Perhaps they are more than we assumed. Zoritha's coils tightened subtly, a motion that conveyed thought and tension simultaneously. They are young. Yet in their defiance lies a clarity and intelligence that rivals even some elder species. Perhaps the Council must observe them further before making any decisions regarding restrictions or containment. Kalen's gaze met Zoritha's, steady and unwavering. "Observation is acceptable," he said calmly. "But humanity will not be constrained by fear, or by limits imposed out of caution or arrogance. We exist to thrive, to explore, and to endure." The council chamber fell into a charged silence. For the first time in millennia, the assembly was uncertain, not of the human skill but of how to approach them. They had predicted hesitation, compliance, and the usual meek acceptance of authority. Instead, they faced a species that had combined courage with competence, defiance with reason. Zorith spoke again, slower this time, almost as if weighing every word. "Your actions have shocked the council, humans. Your audacity was expected, but your capability was not. Few species have ever impressed and alarmed us simultaneously. It is a rare occurrence." Lyra's smile was subtle, almost imperceptible. "That's exactly what we intended," she whispered to Kalen. "They needed to see that humans do not negotiate under fear. We act because we can and because it is necessary." Jaxer, leaning casually against the observation rail, added with a grin, "And they can't get over the fact that we actually succeeded. That's the real shock, competence with audacity. Humans do both naturally." The council members debated behind shimmering energy barriers, discussing the implications of humanity's display. Some feared a species so capable, independent, and unpredictable. Others argued that humans could serve as a model of resilience and ingenuity, a rare example of what a species might achieve without centuries of guidance. One elder member, a gaseous entity that shimmered like a storm captured in crystal, floated forward. "We must admit, this species challenges every expectation we have ever held. Their success cannot be ignored. They may redefine what it means to survive and excel in the galaxy." Zorith, watching the humans with a mixture of respect and caution, finally addressed them once more. "Captain Kalen Rin, your species has accomplished what no other has. You have passed the Council's test with skill, strategy, and composure. We are compelled to reconsider our approach toward humanity." Kalen inclined his head, unwavering. "We do not seek favor or leniency. Humanity will not be constrained by rules designed to contain what you do not understand. We will continue to act as we must, adapt, innovate, and endure." Lyra added, her voice calm but resolute. "Our actions are not defiance for its own sake. They are demonstration of what humans are capable of when given opportunity and trust. We will not be bound by fear or prejudice." The murmurs throughout the chamber were mixed, astonishment, admiration, and apprehension all intertwined. The council had been stunned not only by the humans' success but by their nature, a combination of intelligence, resilience, and courage that defied the established order. Outside the council chambers, Kalen, Lyra, and Jaxer returned to their quarters. The city of the council shimmered beneath them, a sprawling network of light and motion, yet even its grandeur was overshadowed by the quiet impact the humans had made. "They didn't expect us to succeed," Kalen said quietly. "They thought our audacity would crumble under pressure. But it didn't. And now, they're unsure how to handle us." Lyra's gaze swept across the observation window, taking in the alien cityscape. "Uncertainty is a powerful tool," she said. "They fear what they cannot predict. And humans are unpredictable by nature." Jaxer's grin widened. "They wanted to intimidate us. We turned it into a showcase of human ingenuity. That's a win." Indeed, the council was stunned. Humanity had done more than survive a test designed to crush even the most experienced species. They had excelled. They had demonstrated that fear, authority, and tradition were no match for courage, intelligence, and adaptability. The elders debated, the younger delegates whispered in awe, and Zorith himself regarded them with a mixture of caution and respect. For the first time in history, the council faced a species whose presence forced them to rethink their assumptions. Humanity was not a species to be guided, contained, or underestimated. Humanity was a force to be acknowledged. As the humans gazed out at the stars, they felt the weight of the galaxy's eyes upon them. But for the first time it was not a weight of oppression, it was a recognition, subtle and reluctant, that humans had arrived not to negotiate, not to submit, but to endure, innovate, and thrive. Kalen's voice was quiet but firm. "They've seen what we can do. They may not understand us, but they will remember. Humanity does not bow, does not falter, and does not retreat. We endure. And the galaxy will learn that in time." Lyra nodded, her expression resolute. "The council has been stunned. The question now is, what will they do with that knowledge?" Jaxer, adjusting the ship's equipment, grinned. "Let them worry. We've only just begun." Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to a species that refused to be defined by expectation. Humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer a question of permission. It was a reality forged through courage, ingenuity, and an unwavering will. And the Council, for all its centuries of authority, had no choice but to acknowledge it. A new era. The Galactic Council chambers were quieter than they had ever been. Centuries of tradition, of rigid expectations and hierarchical control, had been shaken by a species that refused to follow the rules. Humanity had arrived, unbowed, unafraid, and undeniably capable. The events of the past days had left every council member, elder and young alike, in a state of stunned reflection. Outside the chambers, the city of the council shimmered with energy, floating gardens, crystalline spires, and streams of light that crisscrossed the orbiting platforms. It was a city built for diplomacy, control, and influence. And yet, in the wake of humanity's demonstration, even its grandeur felt subdued, almost inadequate compared to the presence of a species that refused to be tamed. Inside their quarters, Captain Kalen Rin stood by the observation window, gazing out at the sprawling metropolis. Beside him, Lyra Voss and Jaxer Tide reviewed data from their recent trials, the simulations, the nebula test, and the Council's reactions. Every record confirmed the same truth: humanity had not only survived but excelled in conditions designed to break them. They're reconsidering everything, Lyra said softly. We forced them to acknowledge a truth they didn't want to see. Humans cannot be controlled. Kayla nodded, jaw set firmly. We've done more than survive. We've established a precedent. The Council will remember this. And the galaxy is about to learn that humanity cannot be underestimated. Jaxer chuckled, running a hand over the console. They thought defiance meant recklessness. We've shown them it means ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. That's a lesson they'll never forget. Meanwhile, in the council chambers, Zorith and the elder members convened in urgent discussion. The young delegates argued with fervor, some citing curiosity and admiration for humanity's ingenuity. Elder members were cautious, concerned about the unpredictability of a species that had proven both audacious and capable. The humans, Zorith began, his voice low and measured, are unlike any species we have encountered. They do not submit to guidance, yet they do not fail under pressure. Their success in the Solari Nebula test cannot be ignored. Perhaps it is time to reconsider our approach toward them. An elder member, a gaseous entity that shimmered with contained storms, floated forward. They have forced us to confront a truth long ignored, that resilience, adaptability, and courage are forces as formidable as technology or age. Perhaps humanity's arrival is not a threat, but an opportunity, for the Council and for the galaxy. Back in their quarters, Kalen addressed his team, voice calm but resolute. They may see opportunity, they may see threat. That is not our concern. Humanity does not seek permission or favor. We exist to endure, explore, and thrive. That is our purpose, and nothing they can do will change it. Lyra's fingers traced the holographic interface, displaying star systems, fleet positions, and council territories. They've underestimated us at every turn, she said. And every miscalculation, every hesitation, is ours to capitalize on. The galaxy will soon see what humans are capable of. Jaxer leaned back, arms crossed, a grin spreading across his face. We've survived worse than council politics. This is just another frontier. And we'll master it just like we always have. Days passed and the council's response became increasingly measured. Where once they had issued directives, restrictions, and oversight, they now observed with cautious respect. Humans were allowed to explore beyond the initially proposed sectors, provided their actions demonstrated responsibility and intelligence. Every mission, every decision was scrutinized, but humanity had proven that scrutiny was unnecessary. They were capable of acting wisely and effectively on their own. The council had been stunned, yes, but in that shock they had also glimpsed something extraordinary. A species that refused to bend, yet rose to every challenge with skill and courage. Humanity was no longer a species to be guided or contained, they were a force to be reckoned with. Kalen convened a meeting of the human delegation, their faces lit by the glow of the holographic maps. The council is learning, he said, voice firm and steady. They are reassessing humanity's place in the galaxy not because we asked but because we proved ourselves. That is the power of our nature, resilience, courage, and intelligence. That is the human way. Lyra nodded. We've turned their expectations upside down. They anticipated fear and hesitation. They encountered audacity and skill. They will not forget this. Jaxer added with a grin, and neither will the galaxy. Every system we explore, every challenge we overcome, will reinforce what they've learned. Humans endure, adapt, and thrive. No one else in the council will ever underestimate us again. The humans' influence extended quickly. Younger council members advocated for greater autonomy for humanity, inspired by their ingenuity. Elder members, cautious but intrigued, acknowledged that the humans' presence might benefit the galaxy in unexpected ways. Humanity's audacity had sparked debates, ideas, and reconsiderations that would shape interstellar policy for centuries to come. Outside the Citadel, humanity's starship, Aurora's Edge, rested quietly in its docking bay. Beyond it, the stars stretched infinitely, full of challenges, mysteries, and opportunities. Humanity had arrived not to negotiate for safety or approval, they had arrived to claim their place, to endure, to explore, and to thrive. Kalen stood on the observation deck of the ship, gazing at the swirling nebulae and distant suns. The council may have been stunned, he said softly, but the galaxy is only beginning to recognize what humans can do. We are not here to ask permission. We are here to exist, to adapt, and to shape our destiny. Lyra stepped beside him, eyes reflecting the starlight. A new era is beginning, she said. Not just for humanity but for every species that will witness what we are capable of. The galaxy will learn quickly, humans are not to be underestimated. Jaxer, leaning against the railing, grinned. And the best part? This is only the beginning. Every system, every frontier, every challenge ahead, we'll face it. And we'll thrive just like we always have. Kalen turned, gaze firm and unwavering. We've shown the Council what humanity is capable of. But the galaxy will see it. A new era begins today. One defined not by fear or obedience, but by courage, ingenuity, and the unyielding will of humanity. And so, humanity entered the stars not as a submissive species seeking permission, but as a force that refused to be contained. The Council had been stunned, the galaxy intrigued, and the universe would never forget the arrival of a species that endured, adapted, and rose, undaunted by authority, unbroken by expectation, and unstoppable in its drive to thrive. The stars shimmered endlessly, silent witnesses to a species that had claimed its place in the cosmos. Humanity had proven its worth, not through force alone but through courage, intelligence, and resilience. A new era had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.